All right, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Let me exit out of this video here. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Awesome. It's been, I think the last time we talked, we're still pretty busy. How about you?
Yeah, man. It's been a hectic week, I guess, since we did this last. People are definitely coming back out the market, bro. And things are moving quick. I'd say, there's not a lot of good inventory right now. So when something good pops up, people who are ready to go, they're just doing it, right?
Absolutely. So for you guys who are maybe joining us for the first time, what Ribhu and I do is we are looking at a couple of income properties that's available right on market, and we are just going to analyze them live. We're going to tell us our genuine, honest opinions on what we think of them, just right on the spot, and you can kind of just follow along with us and see our thought process. But yeah, going back to the market, things have been pretty busy here as well. I think people are just excited. I think they saw they saw two rate cuts, and I think was it today or yesterday, the inflation data came out
Yeah,
as
yesterday.
well, and it was pretty good news for those who have debt.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And I mean, fixed rates have been coming down heavily this week with lenders. So you're seeing now almost like a race to the bottom on fixed rates. Insured rates now, getting down to the 4.4, 4.5 mark. Getting rate exceptions down to 5.05 3-year fix now. So it's definitely interesting. You kind of have to be on your toes. Every single day is a little bit different. But yeah, man, it's interesting to see this kind of all play out. You're seeing lenders also sort of adapting to policies. I'm not sure if you saw Equitable Bank, for example, came out today, and now they're going to offer construction financing for garden and laneway suites.
no,
So
how's
like
that work?
there's essentially, so if you own the property either with an Equitable Bank first, or you own it outright, or I mean you can switch to Equitable, I guess. They would add a construction component portion to that to then build a garden suite or laneway house. Right now, it is specific to the GTA, Calgary, and a couple other areas. But I think it's just what I'm trying to drive through is lenders are moving right now. They're making a lot of changes, and they're setting themselves up for some business.
I'm finally happy to see the lenders finally adapting to what the market has been asking for quite a while. And the garden suites are not new by any means. I mean, I guess they're new in the brand in terms of bank time.
Yeah,
They're pretty new in their world, but I'm glad to see they're finally adapting to what the customers are actually looking for. Because to this point, it's been pretty hard to get financing and to have banks understand the garden suite side of things. Right? They're finally coming around.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, let's look at some deals, man. What we got going on in Belleville? I know there hasn't been a lot, and all the good deals keep getting snapped up by your investors. But what have we got left?
Yeah, so yeah, right now like inventory is kind of it's a little bit dry right now. Like there's not too many listings coming up. The listings that do go up aren't the greatest most of the time from an investments perspective, but this one just came on the market 2 days ago, and I think it's a pretty cool one. Um, you look at it, it looks like a typical century home, 640 for duplex. I mean, that's the kind of price we typically pay for a turnkey renovated duplex. So you're looking at this thing, you're thinking, oh, this is probably going to be a little bit on the more dated end. How come they're asking 600K? Well,
Yeah.
first of all, it's got that beautiful old school charm trim that I really like. I know investors don't care about this stuff, but it actually matters from a numbers perspective because there's a lot of people who just love this stuff and they will happily pay a premium because their unit looks like this.
Yeah,
Believe
100%.
me. Yeah, I know you guys from Toronto don't have no idea what I'm talking about, but Ribhu and I, we both understand that there's a demographic who will spend big money to live in a place that looks like this.
100%. Yeah, big time.
I mean, it could probably use a little bit of refresh from the paint side of things, but otherwise, I actually really like how this place looks. And I'll get back to it in a little bit, but this place is absolutely humongous. It's a duplex. What we're looking at is the main unit, It's got 5 bedrooms. It's got a 5-bed, 2-bath main unit.
5 beds. Jeez.
Ridiculous. And it's in not bad condition. Like I'm not I'm not a fan of the pink walls here, obviously, but very little work needs to be done to make it pretty turnkey. Here's your kitchen. I think. Well, what would go here? That's too big for a dishwasher.
Yeah. I mean, dishwasher for another cab. I don't know. It's weird. It's a large space for sure.
But it's not bad. And then it's got a second. Oh, that's why it's so big. It's got a second story, all of it too.
Yeah.
How many times? There seems to be quite a few fireplaces in this place.
Yeah.
Here's your second bathroom. Wow, a dedicated laundry room. When was the last time you saw this in a rental?
Yeah, and that large too. I mean, you
Yeah.
barely get that large of a laundry room in primary res.
I know. Yeah. And then you have a separate, this is because it's a duplex, this is another unit. There is a 1-bed. They said it's 1 bed, 1 bath plus den. So for most people's perspectives, it's a 2-bed. But here's what it looks like.
Nice.
It's actually pretty nice.
Oh wow, yeah, it is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% live there myself.
I think that I'll be honest, this kitchen is better than the main units.
Yeah, it is. I like how bright it is too.
And it's got 2 stories, so it's very cool. Each unit has an upper and lower section. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is a turnkey. This is move-in ready. If this was vacant. Wow, look at that bathroom. Tiled.
It is very nice.
That's a bedroom. That is the biggest bedroom I've seen. Look how big it is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they got a whole porch. I mean, this isn't the greatest view, but yeah, that's his building. Really caught my eye because the fact that it is a 5-bed, 2-bath, and a separate 1-bed, 1-bath with a den. I looked into it. The 1-bed, 1-bath, you can tell someone's living there right now, right? So it's tenanted. They pay $1,300 all inclusive for it, and I think it's because I don't think this place has separate meters whatsoever. So you're probably going to be renting out the 5-bed side all inclusive as well. But the fact that it's a 5-bed means you have so much flexibility on what you can do. Like 5-bed, instantly in my head, it screams student rental. That's what it screams, because we all know student rentals, it's usually per room, right? So when you're doing like a 1-bed or 2-bed, a lot of times it makes more sense to go single family to like regular couples, regular working people. But the second you hit 3 beds or more, the numbers more favors student rentals more and more. Just because.
What's the parking situation like?
Great question. It says 6.
Okay.
It says 6. Maybe I'll try to pull up the Google Maps here.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done this in a while.
No. There you go.
It's corner lot, dude.
Okay, nice. Is it the corner lot? No, I think it's 1 over.
No, it's 70. Oh, it's 74 is here.
Yeah.
But it looks like this is the parking.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a parking. Yeah, there's quite a bit of parking there for sure.
Yeah. Pretty solid. Listing says 6. Obviously don't believe that until you actually see it. But I think 6 is more than enough for a duplex.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's jump into the numbers here. Let me pull this up here. 639. Let me just refresh this real quick then. $639. Just flat there. Oh, missing a 0.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how do we want to let's what is your opinion? Just let's say worst case scenario, super conservative. What are we making on this place as just renting as just a regular family, not students?
All inclusive?
All inclusive. 5-bed, 2-bath with the way that looks now.
2,700 all in.
Okay. I think that's very reasonable. I think we can, like, I rented out a 5-bed, 3-bath for 3,200, just less than a year ago. But that was in a brand new subdivision.
Yeah.
So this being a duplex in a not as desirable part of town, and the fact that you're sharing a part of the house with someone else is gonna hurt. I think 2,700, because it's all inclusive.
Sure.
I think it's quite
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah. Because the utilities in this property would probably be expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So and then you have 27 plus 1,300. That is how much rent the guy in the back is paying.
Yeah.
Okay. Has my formula not been doing this? Equals this times this. There we go. I don't know how that happened. Property taxes. 5,466. Ouch. Good old Belleville.
Good old Belleville.
Insurance has a tip.
I've been doing so many more Toronto deals, and like Toronto property tax is like half of Belleville. Wild.
Because you have so many condo developments, they end up subsidizing the single.
No,
like
Belleville's just stupid.
we're inefficient with our bureaucracy here.
Yeah.
Vote George for mayor.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
George becomes property taxes become zero. We all refinance with best NOIs, and then I raise it back up, right, guys?
Yeah.
Insurance for duplex, what, 200, right? Ish.
Yeah, sure.
Less? I would think we use yeah, I was like, I don't think we used 120 before. I think it was 150.
Yeah, the only reason I hesitated because it was an older property, but I think 150 is fair.
Yeah. Your repairs and maintenance, property management, utilities in this case, because all inclusive, you're looking at between all of the utilities, I don't know, 300, 400, 350. Yeah. Yeah. If we're averaging winter and summer, right?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Mortgage Man, what are we looking at for rates today? Still 5.3 for a rental?
Yes, it's weird because they haven't brought down the rates that are on, their rate sheets. But I can say anecdotally today I had a rental approval at 5.05 for 3-year fixed, but 5.3 is still what's on their rate sheets.
Okay. So on the rate sheets, 5.3, but some anecdotally people have been getting close to 5.0.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're gonna run our numbers at 5.3 just because
yeah. That's the rate drops are not guaranteed. It depends on the bond market that day, and who knows what Trudeau will say.
We don't we don't wanna give anybody false hope.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So with these numbers here, your monthly your down payments, 127, and your mortgage payments around $2,800 a month or so.
Yeah.
So your income is 4,000 minus some vacancy, and your net operating expenses is around $1,400. That leaves you 2,500 or so on net operating income. This gives you a negative cash flow of $300 a month. And you're saying, I don't get it, George. You said this is supposed to be deal of the week. What kind of deal is this?
We don't cherry pick them. We swear, guys. This is proof.
We literally found this deal like 5 minutes before. But I think we both saying the fact that it's a 5-bed, 2-bath screams student rental or like work permit rental, shared like that kind of accommodation setup.
Yeah.
There's a couple ways you can look at it. I think 5-bed, 2-bath. I think I would do private rooms, like one individual per room.
Yeah, because they're huge.
And they're huge rooms. And the people who are, I think, more of the work permit demographic, because they're working full time now, they demand a higher quality of living.
Yeah.
Yet they still want to save money with more of a shared accommodation style. Yeah. I know for a fact that you can get at least $750 per room.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's fair. And I mean, even like from a student standpoint, the rooms are big enough to have enough space. You have your work set up. Like it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, if we're doing 2 per room, we're talking about 900 per room. I don't want to be playing like this. We're talking about 10 people in one of the duplex. I mean, could we get 900 per room times 5? Yeah, but I don't really want to run my numbers like that.
Let's do 750.
Yeah. So 750 times 5, which is I don't actually know what that is, but plus 1,300 is just over $5,000.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Everything else should stay the same, with the exception of maybe you might be spending an extra, I don't know, $100 on utilities just because there's more people there.
Sure.
Maybe not so. Maybe not $100, maybe $50 a month, just because your heat bill should be the same. It should be.
Yeah, and I mean that's where a lot of student rentals too. You start using strategies of smart thermostat, like all these things where you can.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's the water I find that goes up the most, just because of more toilet being used, more
yeah,
showers. Electricity, I find doesn't change dramatically. It's the water, the heat, and the heat doesn't change. Like the cost of heating a house doesn't change because you have more people inside. That makes no sense.
no,
In
no, no.
fact, technically less if you think about it from a thermodynamics perspective.
Yeah,
But
okay, you're talking more like a couple dollars maybe.
just body heat. I mean, let me add that in my calculations.
How many people you putting in there, George? Come on. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Is
that
PM a
brings
bit more
our
as well for student rentals?
what's that?
Is property management a bit more for student rentals?
Yes, we're looking at if we're using, for example, in our buddy
Hmm.
Mr. IPS student management Ishpreet,
Yeah.
he charges 10% for property management, so
Yeah.
$500 a month there.
Hmm.
But I mean, people are like, oh my god, $500 a month for um property management, but don't forget, because of this guy, you're able to make an extra like $1,500 a month for your
Yeah.
unit. So, be fair. Where everything else should, for the most part, be the same. But so
Yeah.
now where net operating income is over $3,000, and now look, we went from negative 300 to positive 300.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean that your cash flowing positive, you're paying down your principal mortgage pay down, you got your appreciation. You got a pretty healthy, 25%
Yeah.
ROI year over year. And then, if you can preserve that the nice, old school trim stuff, maybe after a couple of years you can do it up real nice and sell it. And I think there's demand for really nice
100%.
historical looking buildings, and I think there's a lot of potential from appreciation here, because these kind of homes, there's less and less of them. It's like a diminishing supply of them that still look like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's definitely a demographic that likes that stuff.
Yeah. There's pockets, but yeah, not a lot left.
And some of them are getting torn down, some of them are catching on fire, some of them are getting converted. And I think holding a historical looking home
Yeah.
is gonna matter down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time.
Okay, so that's our first property. The second one is a little bit more, how do I describe, advanced for some people.
Yeah.
This one is a 16 unit apartment building for sale at 5.9 cap rate. It's 2.6 million. Let's look through the pictures.
Hmm.
Like right now I can tell this is a purpose built multiplex brick,
Yeah.
probably built in the 80s or 90s, if I had to guess, just
Yeah.
from the look of it.
And I mean, George, did you ever think a year and a half ago that you'd be talking about an apartment building on the MLS for 162,000 a unit?
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I mean, it makes me wonder how bad the rents are, but
I honestly, bro, I think the multifamily space is getting there, where you're seeing people having to lower prices because
yeah.
people went so aggressive in value add in the last couple of years. They kind of lost their shit a lot of times. I think prices are coming down. We've been looking at a lot of multifamilies lately, and cap rates are definitely going up in many markets, Belleville, Brantford, like secondary, tertiary markets. So it's an interesting opportunity because the value add spread is still there, but the perceived risk has gone up given the circumstance.
So this listing says listed at a 5.9% cap rate, and we all know this is calculated using the seller provided finances, which for the most part is missing a few important things. And I haven't seen the financials myself quite yet, but in my experience, they're missing property management, snow removal, grass, a couple of maintenance items like there. Is that what you find as well? And when you're looking at the seller provided financials and their version of the cap rate?
Yeah. So there's two things, right? There's one, the seller versus what your estimated actual financials are going to be. And then depending on the lender, or if it's CMHC, it's whatever standards you're required to use there as well, right? So, just because there's no property management fee, for example, on a building doesn't mean we can omit it on an application, right? So there's almost like two parallel spreadsheets you need to have, one for your lender and one for, okay, this is what's really going to happen. But they both need to make sense, right, from an offer standpoint, because you're only going to get lent on one.
I mean, this is a solid building. This is like a generational, happy to hold this for 30 years, purpose built.
Yeah.
Like you got your people love sharing pictures of this. So like, here, look, check it out. I'm in an apartment building. Selfies in these kind of rooms. You can tell some of the units that have turnover, they've actually done a pretty good job in making them look nice.
Yeah.
Like this is the level of finishes that I would do myself if I owned this.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if I even tiled. I would have done an acrylic, to be honest. Because I'm cheap.
They've definitely turned over some units here.
So I think this is a very interesting property, and you said it was how many per door?
It was 162,000 a door.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of across many different markets. I was actually told by another realtor who specializes kind of just straight multifamily, but on the west side of Ontario, who was saying he's seen all the big players, all the big REITs, buying turnkey right now because cap rates have gone up. CMHC financing is a little bit more aggressive. When you're getting CMHC financing in the low fours, right now, there's a lot of great opportunity, especially in the multifamily space, where you can get very low down payment, going a lot less capital down, and have a pretty sweet leverage IRR, which is nice. I like making money.
And I think now that with a lot of sellers who are trying to sell them in, and I know you've heard of that, the constant the cap rate expansion a little bit. People are getting a little bit lower prices. I think this is an interesting opportunity where the sellers, instead of wanting to necessarily drop their price, maybe they're offering a more aggressive VTB. So now you're getting in with less money down. Your ROI is even better. Your IRR is even better from a percentage perspective. It looks so much better that way. And it's just, I think now where properties aren't flying out the shelves, especially apartment buildings. This is where someone who's a little bit more sophisticated buyer can get pretty good deal.
Is probably why. Look, somebody like Jordan McGregor, the site is contaminated.
Well, I was telling Ribhu, like, Ribhu, why does it say this sentence here? Environmental opinion letter regarding the site's environmental condition is available. Like, you wouldn't say that unless
that's fair.
It says something on it.
Yeah.
But it's contaminated. So from a couple years ago. So contaminated means okay. Explain to the audience here what that means from a mortgage perspective.
Sure. So essentially, banks don't like contaminated. So you shouldn't like contaminated because it means, it's very hard to finance. So especially for multi-residential, the remediation would be required, or, holdbacks and stuff would be included. And, from all the deals that I've looked at, I don't know, probably I would make an assumption that it makes more sense on larger deals. Like, we're talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, then probably remediation makes sense. But on a deal size like this, I haven't seen it make sense to pay for remediation and then buy
it. So makes you wonder what kind of financing is currently on this property.
Probably private. Or probably, I don't know, some sort of VTB from, I don't know. I'm speculating.
Right. So like what I'm thinking is, I know there's people who don't mind owning contaminated properties and they buy with a VTB, or they buy and then they sell it with a VTB. And but yeah, of course, 100% affects the valuation of the property.
Yeah. And I mean, and I mean, Jordan's giving some good insight here. I was just about to say that it depends too on when they bought it, if their environmental came back on contamination, right? So here you say previous seller was playing games at the phase 1, or buyer got an independent report done which recommended a phase 2, which indicated groundwater contamination. So I mean, so
Oh,
that's also the thing, right? Is like people's environmental could have played out differently, right? But it's one of those things where as a buyer, you don't necessarily want to just make the deal work and push a ESA through, and then you're gonna end up with the same issues down the road when you go to resell. And I mean, regulations tend to get worse, not better, in terms of like restrictiveness.
yeah, because I think we were talking about a deal not too long ago where they had a ESA phase 2 on the listing, and we were both reading it, and it said they found contaminants of whatever petrochemical contamination in the groundwater at this many parts per million.
Mhm.
I think. Do you remember this one? And and then it said this is below the Environment Canada's cutoff minimum required
Yeah,
threshold, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
we were
yeah.
both looking at him like this is from 1980.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the requirements have gone up since then.
yeah. No, no. One thing I will say as a caveat is because obviously we haven't seen the environmental. Get your own independent advice if there's something you are potentially interested in. Because who knows? Like, you never know.
Yeah, this is
Because
something like,
I'd work.
and
Go ahead.
we did say this is for the more advanced
Yeah,
investor who should have a very strong power team with them, advising them of what the risks, the benefits, the pitfalls could be for something like this, right?
yeah, yeah. But anyway, it's an interesting market, man.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you can get it for a good deal for 95% VTB financing from the seller for 3% interest only payments,
Yeah,
right? I'd buy
maybe.
it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. And that'd be a pain in the ass to sell down the road. But
uh,
okay. Anyway, that was fun. I was suspecting because I saw that sentence on the listing, and I'm like,
you did call it out. Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
right.
why would they say it if it was good? You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Anyway,
there must have been some issue with it in the past. I guess
yeah.
there potentially is, but seek your own independent advice.
Uh, Ian Murdoch from Cambrian might be able to offer solutions. Are they an environmental like remediation company or?
Yeah, Lux multi-service engineering and consulting company offering guidance to clients with new build developments and renovations.
Cool. Well, good to know. Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah.
Looks like a smart guy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's like there. That's all we got for today. Like we were kind of stretching for this week because there's like 4 listings a day. Like there's nothing exciting happening right now. Where at least the searches that I've set for myself, nothing too exciting happening right now. The market is surprisingly active for this time of the year. I would say for sure. We're definitely not in the we're definitely not in the crazy multiple offer everything phase, but things that are priced appropriately are moving, and the things that aren't. Just the best
Yeah,
way I can describe it.
100%. It is kind of like a polarized market right now. So
Yeah,
be interesting
yeah,
to see how it continues to play out.
yeah. Jordan wanted to add that Ian can provide recommendations that a lending institution would be acceptable with.
Mhm.
The issue with this particular property is the groundwater can be coming in from the river, and you can never effectively be able to say fully clean the site. Yeah, that would suck. Then never with no permanent remediation. That what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got to have talk to the people who have the answers, right?
Yeah. It's wild to me though.
Oh,
And
we
I'm not a professional engineer, but it's wild to me from like a high level perspective that groundwater contamination matters so much on a site that pulls from municipal services.
um we had a comment. I have a comment from Instagram asking, "What about 2L9 Drive? It's been sitting there for a while." I actually have been this property a few times.
Yeah.
It's a solid property, man. It's a typical raised bungalow with your
That'd be a triplex conversion, is in Belleville.
yeah, like so it has a. Did you know this? This one has a walkout.
No, I didn't know it, but the property looked like a cookie cutter triplex.
Yeah,
from
there's
what
a
we
there's a
could do.
there's a walkout door right here
Okay,
in the
nice.
basement. So this is telling me front door, and then you go in, and then there's up door, down door, and then basement door, and you have 2 units in the basement, and then you have your upstairs, right? Straightforward triplex conversion. Price
Yeah,
is probably the price is the only issue because it looks like this currently, wallpaper galore, green carpet.
it's priced high, I find.
Yeah, I think correct price for this would be somewhere between 450 and 475.
Yeah.
And it does have a fuse box instead of a breaker panel. I've been there, so but the neighborhood, man, it is a great neighborhood. This is a good area. I'm not gonna lie. This is a great area. This is a corner lot. It's on a pretty decently sized lot. There's not much of a backyard, but it's got it because it's on a corner lot. It's got a pretty large side yard. So I really like this. I think this is be a good duplex triplex conversion, and in an area that you don't have to worry about getting really bad tenants. Just because of how great the area is, and you won't have problems finding tenants for this area at all.
No.
Jordan asks,
yeah.
Jordan asks, can you guys convert to 4 units yet? Bylaw just changed in Kingston. No. No. Okay.
Not by right.
So the entire city of Belleville just got rezoned, and if you look at now there's only 3 residential densities: 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
1 is your typical single family stuff. It's actually not a big part of it's like less than a quarter of the city, I think now ish, maybe half, like somewhere between quarter and a half. R3 is for like high density multi-res.
Yeah.
R2, you can do fourplex or low rise apartment buildings, assuming you meet the.
Have you seen the requirements?
I know.
Yeah.
But like, I would argue that like a third of the city is R2 right now, right? And if you look at it, fourplex by right is allowed in R2, provided you meet the frontage, lot coverage, blah 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 requirements. So if you buy a large enough lot on R2, you can just straight up build a fourplex.
Yeah.
And we have lots of those.
Yeah. I'm just all the other restrictions annoy me. It's like, for example, a triplex, the all like pre-Bill 23 changes, right? Where it's technically 2 ADUs. Like it had to be one on top of each other, for example. Right?
They're more lax with it now.
No, because it's 2 ADUs. So it's not like how the old triplex requirements used to be. Right? Because it's now just it's technically 2 ADUs as per Bill 23. So I think that's a big barrier, right? Because then, like from a construction cost standpoint, like where Bill 23 helps, and likely, what's happening in Kingston, what's happening in Toronto. So like it's happening in other municipalities in Ontario. So it is a matter of time before it gets to Belleville. But that by right piece makes it a lot more accessible for like the smaller investor, I feel.
With that question though, if you're instead of talking about Belleville, if you look at Trenton/Quinte West, if you read the draft official plan, it does say, in addition to your primary dwelling, we are allowing 3 ADUs, which means 4 units.
Yeah, we said that.
Whatever that we're waiting for that. We're just waiting for the approval. It's draft. It's been in draft mode for over a year now.
Yeah, we're getting there, but no, Jordan, not yet.
It'd be kind of wild if Trenton got it before Belleville. That'd be crazy. But that might be what happens.
Hey, Trenton's doing digital building permits now, so there's hope.
Abhi Thakor Instagram asks, "What's the triplex conversion refinance in Belleville?" I'm not sure what you mean. Like, you're talking about like ARV, or how are the banks looking at triplex refinances? I guess you can answer both.
Yeah, so right now banks, so there's 2 styles, right? So we've done, with my business partners and I, we've done a couple of we're on our second now. So we did the first triplex conversion, which I think was the first in Belleville. Scott does, so another investor does 2 in the main house and then the detached garden suite. So that once it's in the property, so the first appraisal that we did, that appraisal, it was pretty much a brand new, we got it everything. The appraisal was 825 when we were done. We are going to be doing a second appraisal for another triplex conversion next week. So I'll keep you guys posted on how that comes back, N of 2. They aren't really recognizing the value substantially yet of the detached units. So the detached units are coming in probably lower 700s, the detached unit triplexes. So it'll be good to get the second one under the belt because I don't think very many people have done it yet. But I can say the 825. And I mean, if you look at historic sales and stuff in Belleville, triplexes are trading. And like triplexes under market rent, they're trading, between 750 to 785-ish. So, having a vacant triplex at the end for 800 to 825, I don't think is unrealistic to replicate. But I will confirm that next week once I have a second appraisal in hand.
You're going to be... yeah, it's always nice to be the frontier. It's terrifying because you have no idea what else going on, but at the same time, you have no competition, right?
Yeah, you got to be prepared if you're going to do that to like leave money in. Like you got to be okay with that. But now we'll have some comps for you guys, so you're welcome.
Well, one day when you actually sell one of them, that'll be a real comp.
Yeah. But I can suggest, which comps we used for your appraisal.
So. Yeah. I mean, right now I'm talking to a lot of my clients that, triplex conversions, if you're going to do them, try to do them all inside the same structure if possible.
Yeah.
Especially if you really need the money back. If you really need the money back, it's just the banks aren't on board with the detached structure. It's that as consistently as we'd like.
So I think banks have changed from a policy standpoint.
Yes.
They've kind of caught up, but I don't think appraisal values have caught up yet.
Yes. Well, but then again, I'm trying going back to I think it was a year ago or a year and a half ago where Scott did the single family plus the garage conversion as a detached ADU. The appraiser said it was worth 800, and then the bank said no. I think the garage is worth 0.
No, well, so that's bank policy. So bank policies, depending on the lender too, they may not consider the value of an outbuilding. They may only consider values of certain acreages, stuff like that. So banks have been changing policies now. Like TD led the way. A couple others, they are considering outbuildings for this reason, and they have new laneway policies / garden suite because of the trend that is happening. Like Toronto's kind of leading the way with that. Like the amount of that's happening here, they had to catch up. Hence why Equitable's rolling programs out. So what Scott ran into was a problem then that I don't think exists. I mean, it exists less now, but the values from a comp standpoint still haven't caught up.
I mean, like duplexes, people are finally starting to sell the finished products of what we've been doing 2 years ago today. So the pioneers of today, when they start selling in 2026, 2027, then we will actually have comps at that point. So in the meantime, you got to be okay with the unknown if you want to be a pioneer.
Yep. But it's been going good so far.
Yep. Okay, well, I think that's it for this week. Thanks for you guys for tuning in, even though we were one day different from usual. We're gonna try to keep things consistent, but I think most people agree that they'd rather have us do it a different day versus skipping it like we've done for the last couple of weeks. So we're gonna keep trying to do this, and if it doesn't work out, we'll just move to a different day. If we have to, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, that's it for us this week. Tune in next week, hopefully Tuesday at the same time. And if you guys are looking for, someone to help you finance your properties, Ribhu is absolutely your guy. Purchase, primary residence, rentals, bigger stuff. You need money. He has money. Don't
well, I don't, but I know people who do.
Yeah. And if you're looking for properties to put the money into, I'm your guy. Whether you're trying to dispose of an investment property or acquire a portfolio of your own, definitely let's chat, especially if you're not familiar with this market, because it's different. Every market is different, and you need a guy who understands it. Okay, guys, that's it for us. Check you guys. We'll tune in next time.